what's going on? It's Muriel from the Sunshine Family, and please don't move to Costa Rica for several reasons, okay? It's very important you watch my whole video, because then you know if I'm talking about you or not. Hey, if you're new to this channel and you've never seen me before, welcome in my world. I moved to Costa Rica back in 2018 from the Netherlands with my husband, Dirk, and two growing up kids. And my channel is all about sharing everything I have learned so far, so you can learn from my mistakes. And I'm gonna help you to prevent a huge mistake. If you're thinking about moving to Costa Rica, I'm gonna tell you, don't. And this is why. Perhaps you think this is weird, because I think that you really like it in Costa Rica, because that's what I hear you say in lots of your videos. Yes, that's correct, but I still see a lot of people coming and making huge mistakes, and they leave crying and screaming basically. And I really want to help you prevent being part of that group, because that really happens a lot. And if you see a lot of other people making videos about Costa Rica, most people often forget about showing the downsides, and I'm here to be super transparent with my unedited videos, just raw as I am. And let me just dive in after I highlight that you can subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that before by clicking that little square icon. Then tap the bell icon to get a notification for receiving updates and notifications every time I upload new video about Costa Rica living. And also, if you wonder what are you doing there in Costa Rica, well, you know what, I'm gonna tell you in a bit. Let me dive right in. Reason number one, don't move to Costa Rica, please. If you don't have an accepted health insurance, and a good one that will be paying you if you need it. Now, what's the difference? Well, first of all, when I moved to Costa Rica, there was no such a thing as COVID or COVID insurance. I have a family of 4. I have growing up kids. And even in the Netherlands, I had a very good health insurance, because we need it, right? We have kids, everything can happen. So now with COVID, it's even a rule, regulation. Without an accepted health insurance, you are not even allowed in and pass through customs. So it's not an option anymore, it is a must. Now people ask me all the time, what travel insurance is the best one you recommend? You probably, if you're not from the Netherlands, you cannot use mine. I have a Dutch expat insurance, which is excellent. It is called OOM. But again, if you're not Dutch and you don't have a Dutch employer, you cannot use it. But for all others, worldwide accepted is Allianz. I have gotten this tip from some of my fellow expats and also people who are traveled a lot and have visited Costa Rica a lot, and they assured me that Allianz is really easily accepted in many hospitals, and they pay. So yeah, I think that is a very important tip that you should write down, or just remember, but don't joke about having not enough coverage. Let me just touch on an example. My son needed stitches. He had a big hole in his knee, and that was like a high bill, but my insurance covered it, no questions asked. My daughter broke her collarbone. She needed an ambulance to San Jose because it was a very complicated and big thing, right? And everything was covered, including surgery, and that was a $25,000 bill. So my insurance paid. Don't move to Costa Rica if you are not sure how your health insurance is covering stuff, because the moment supreme, you need to be fully able to have them back you up. Otherwise, you're going to be stressed and in lots of trouble. Of course, another option is that you have a huge stash of cash that you can rely on the moment that you need to just cash an ambulance. That's another option. I'm just saying, know what you're doing, okay? Reason number 2, don't move to Costa Rica, please, if you don't have a huge stash of money that you can rely on, that you can live on for at least 6 months, or don't move to Costa Rica if you don't have cash flow that you can keep on running from Costa Rica or online. Why am I highlighting that? Well, the times have changed, but the values of people has not changed. Example, before COVID, Costa Rica was fully relying on tourists. We have all seen what COVID did with the local economies everywhere, including Costa Rica, which the biggest chunk of what Costa Rica is earning from is from tourism, right? With COVID, businesses got shut down. People were not able to fly anymore, right? Restaurants and hotels were left empty. To a lot of them just didn't survive, right? So if you were thinking that you just could come to move to Costa Rica and figure it all out, how you're gonna make your income, it is a big risk, and I see lots of people that they did it that way, but they have to leave because there are no jobs. It is really hard to start a business. It is hard to compete with the existing businesses. So if you don't know how to earn cash flow online the way that I do myself, you are taking a huge risk that you have to leave in a short amount of time. And I say that without hesitation, because I am happy to be able to tell you how awesome it is to make cash flow from Costa Rica, basically from everywhere around the world. And if you're thinking, but tell me how, I have no clue, I'm not techie and I don't know where to start, I feel so overwhelmed, I looked in it and I don't know what to do, just go ahead and go to the very first link below my video, tap it and test drive the program that I am using that has taught me how to do it and how I'm really helping lots of people around the world do the same. And there's more. I have created my own life coaching digital courses, and you can get access to those by scrolling down deeper in the description. But again, this is an example. People have sold, for example, their house, right? Let's say in the United States, they have like a stash of money, right? And they're like, you know what? We're gonna live on that. That's fine. That's like, let's say like $100,000, right? And now we're going to buy something here, and we're going to live a happy life because that's a huge pile, right? And this is the big mistake that most people make. Costa Rica is super expensive, and if you want to buy a property here, or if you want to apply for residency, everything costs money and it takes a lot of time. So finding work here, it takes time. I'm not even saying that there's good jobs here to find. You cannot rely on earning, on living on your savings or on a house that you sold before you know it. You've eaten it all up. You need cash flow. That is my biggest advice. Perhaps you don't agree. That is a possibility. But this is what I have seen around me, and I don't want you to step in that big trap. Have a secured cash flow, or have a solid stash of money you can rely on. And investing in the highest paid skills in the world is what I always preach and teach my students, and that is how to generate an income online. But again, if you're not an online person and you have other ways to live on, awesome. But be sure you have them, and don't rely too much on local options here, because they're limited, very limited. Okay. Reason number 2, don't move to Costa Rica, please, is when you are a person who is only feeling happy with having everything mapped out. If you were a planner, if you followed, for example, my book, 7 Steps to Move to Costa Rica, and you read between the lines, you also learn that you need to have a creative mind to survive mentally, staying happy if things go wrong or differently as you planned them. There are people, they want to organize their whole life and have the what ifs written down into so much detail that I think you should not move to Costa Rica, because that reality won't happen. You will see everything you map out, a lot of them will be different the moment that you arrive. You could have mapped out a long-term rental, you think, wow, I'm good, I have nothing to worry about. The moment you arrive, the house is totally different as you expected, or the services are not as good as you expected, or the international school that your kids go to, it's totally not nice, they don't like it, the teacher is dumb, there are not nice kids in their class. Everything can go different, right? If you want to have mapped everything out, you're gonna be so unhappy. I think that you should only come to Costa Rica if you have the ability to deal with changes and with obstacles. Yeah, that is a biggie. If you are the scared type of person, don't come to Costa Rica, because it's gonna be so scary, you're gonna be so unhappy, and I don't see others who do videos about Costa Rica covering that. Not enough. There are so many people who move to Costa Rica and talk about it, you know, as if it's always a rainbow and sunshine and happiness and hammock life to live in Costa Rica, and they're leaving out, or they have forgotten all the downsides of moving and living in Costa Rica. So I just want you to be realistic before you make the decision, okay? So yeah, that is a big one. I cannot highlight enough. Also, reason for why I believe you should not move to Costa Rica is when you're super impatient. When you are an impatient type of person, you're gonna be spit out by Costa Rica, because everything takes time here. If you are helped on time, so to say, see yourself as lucky. So it's all about having patience and go with the flow in a lot of situations. In applying for residency, in finding the perfect house, in meeting nice friends, in everything. Even in flying here, your flight can get delayed, you can, you know, there's so many things that take more time as you expected. I figured out that if you are aware of that everything takes super long, like extreme long, you're lucky when you are served faster as you expected. So I flipped it, and that's so cool. So every time I have to go to the bank or I have to arrange something, and I'm like, yeah, well, I just expect it's gonna take weeks or even months, and when it happened quite quick, I see myself as lucky. And that is another way of dealing with situations. But a lot of people, when you come from a life where there's a rat race and you're used to that fast, quick life, like do, and I do like 10 things per day and boom, 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 that life you are not able to keep up overall here in Costa Rica. It's a different type of life. It's more laid back. It's like, oh, it doesn't happen today, let's see what happens tomorrow. And yeah, not everyone is aware of that doesn't stop. This is part of Costa Rica living. So it's a big heads up. Another reason why I believe that you don't move to Costa Rica is when you hate insects. Insects are everywhere. Even when I'm now sitting in my hammock, like at least 10 ants have walked over my knee. And I have been bitten by a mosquito in my butt while sitting in the hammock, and he came from below. Literally, insects are everywhere, with sound, with biting you, with just crawling over you, with taking over your house. Like, take for example, that there's lots of ants, lots of different ants, and there's also ants. They just eat your house, they eat wood. So if you want to build your house, I would not build a wooden house not made from teak wood, because termites love it. Did you know that termites can eat up a whole house in a very short amount of time? It's part of living. You can have a veggie garden and have done everything to grow veggies and fruit and everything, and then like those ants who cut leaves, they eat your garden within the night. It happens. If you cannot stand that, don't move to Costa Rica. It's not a joke. You're gonna be so unhappy. And don't you wanna move to Costa Rica to feel happy and to have peace of mind and to live a pura vida laid back life, right? So here is my big key, and I'm so happy that you stick with me till the end of this video, that I believe that, okay, first I'm gonna state it like this. Don't move to Costa Rica if you're not willing right now, before you move. Ow! And something is really biting me. Literally where I'm making this video. The final reason why I believe you should not move to Costa Rica is when you are unwilling to work on your mindset, to work on yourself, to grow from within, and to strive to be a better person every day. And why is that so important? Well, I know many people, they haven't read a book since 10 years, right? They watch Netflix all day, they gossip all day, they are on top of the news, and they are lived by everything that's happening around them. Now, the art of living a happy life in Costa Rica, that is actually that you can create peace of mind from within, no matter how crazily negative a situation is, right? And don't take me wrong, I don't think you should not move to Costa Rica when you're escaping a life you hate wherever it is, because I believe Costa Rica is a really awesome country to start a new life. But I believe that you should only move to Costa Rica keeping up with seeing it as the exercise of the mind, the same way as you would exercise your muscles. You should exercise knowing exactly how to stay positive when there's absolutely no reason to be positive. Let's take, for example, I have met people, they bought property that wasn't theirs to buy because that property was not on paper possible to be bought, because they were ripped off, and even the attorney didn't see it. So they bought the house, they started a building process while the real owner claimed it, and they had to give that piece up after they paid for it. It was a nightmare scenario. Do you think that they left Costa Rica and that they just, stopped being happy? No, those people made it. Those people are very they're diehards, of course, in training their minds on how to stay positive overall, no matter what happens. And here's my little pet rescue, Sophie, saying hi. Hi, Sophie. And I'm just saying, training yourself that way is a must. So if you're not willing to read and to learn, to keep the balance in your mind, okay, you're gonna have a very hard time in Costa Rica, and you're gonna be perhaps one of my grumpy neighbors. I don't want to get grumpy neighbors. I want to have positive-minded people around me. There are so many people complaining also here. So if you're not willing to change yourself, and if you're not willing to work on yourself, then don't move to Costa Rica, because Costa Rica will be challenging you. And this is why I made this video. If you're still thinking, why are you so negative? No, first of all, I am not negative. I am happy about my life in Costa Rica. I make my cash flow here in Costa Rica online. I don't allow anyone in my life. I leave toxic, complaining people outside of my world. They are here as well. I only connect with really, really enlightening people who work on themselves. I'm never gonna say that no bad things are happening here. I have challenges. My well is dry, for example, now, while I've paid for a well, etc. So I'm dealing with stuff, challenges, and you will get challenges. But don't move to Costa Rica if you think that you cannot handle challenges about water, electricity, Wi-Fi, crashes and stuff. You have to deal with yourself, being able to always create a positive state of mind, no matter how bad the situation is. And that is, if you ask me, the secret of a happy life in Costa Rica. I'm not holy. I am not a saint. Sometimes I have my downsides. I have my grumpy morning that I think, oh no, I have optic fiber, I'm paying for it, but there is not a signal coming through my property because like a line broke like kilometers away from my house. That things happen, and I don't allow being grumpy over it, because then I know I'm gonna attract more of it. I'm gonna give you 2 book tips I'm gonna be sharing below that I really am confident that can help you. So you don't have to scroll for those titles. Just go to the description below my video and start reading those books. It is the book of Dr. Joe Dispenza, calling Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. So if you want to move to Costa Rica, you have to really apply this book. And the other book is written by Mike Dooley, and it's called Manifesting Change. And it's all, so I live in Costa Rica. I mapped out a couple of things, but a lot of things just happened to me. But I manifested also my own change, and I applied those two books. I hope that you can benefit from those. Again, I recommend you to go to the description below my video to learn more about what it is that I do online, to get my free book tips, and also the books I just mentioned, and more info, also how to order a copy of my book 7 Steps to Costa Rica, and how to work with me in my coaching programs with limited spots, very limited spots, because I work one-on-one with coaching clients. And I'm just super excited to hearing what you think about my video today. Did it help? Do you have things to add? Do you want to connect with me? Please do. I'm looking forward to connecting with you and to be part of your journey in moving to Costa Rica, because at the end of the day, I want you to see you happy after moving to Costa Rica. Okay, so with that being said, thanks for watching my video again, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in my next one.